Welcome back to Threads of Time, where we unravel the rich history of fashion, one era at a time. This video is part of my Fashion Eras series, where we explore how clothing evolved throughout history and shaped the world we know today. And today, we're stepping into the grand and powerful Roman Empire, where fashion was more than just fabric. It was a statement of class, identity, and even politics. From the flowing togas of the elite to the practical tunics worn by everyday citizens, Roman fashion was a blend of simplicity, elegance, and strict social codes. But how did these styles develop? And why do we still see traces of them in modern fashion? Let's find out. To understand Roman fashion, we have to go back to its roots, quite literally. Roman clothing was heavily influenced by the ancient Greeks and Etruscans, but the Romans added their own twist. The most basic garment for both men and women was the tunica, or tunic, a simple rectangular piece of fabric, usually linen or wool, sewn at the sides with openings for the head and arms. It was practical, comfortable, and could be worn by anyone, regardless of status. But if you wanted to show your social standing, that's where things got more interesting. This brings us to the most famous garment of the Roman world, the toga. The toga wasn't just a fashion choice, it was a symbol of Roman citizenship. You couldn't just throw one on and walk the streets of Rome. It was heavy, made of a single massive piece of wool, and required careful draping. So much so that many men had to hire a slave just to help them wear it correctly. Only free Roman men could wear the toga, and different colors and decorations signified different ranks. The toga virilis, or toga of manhood, was a plain off-white and marked a boy's transition into adulthood. Meanwhile, the toga praetexta, edged with a purple border, was reserved for magistrates and senators. And the toga picta, dyed a deep purple with gold embroidery, was worn only by victorious generals and emperors. Imagine having an outfit that immediately told the world your status, wealth, and even your political role. That was the power of Roman fashion. While men had their togas, Roman women had their own elegant wardrobe choices. The staple piece for women was the stola, a long, flowing dress often belted at the waist and worn over a tunic. It was the Roman equivalent of a Grecian chiton, but with a more structured look. Respectable married women wore the stola as a sign of their status, while the palla, a large rectangular shawl, was draped over the shoulders or even pulled over the head in public. Think of it as an ancient version of a stylish wrap or even a veil. Women's clothing also embraced color more than men's, thanks to the Romans' advanced dyeing techniques using plants, minerals, and even crushed insects for that rich Tyrian purple. But not everyone could afford such luxuries. A deep purple garment could cost the same as a small house due to the expensive and labor-intensive dyeing process. Before we dive into what Roman soldiers and the working class wore, take a second to hit that like button if you're enjoying this journey through history. And if you want more deep dives into historical fashion, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of Threads of Time. Of course, not everyone in Rome was lounging around in togas. The vast majority of Romans, farmers, merchants, artisans, wore tunics, usually knee-length for men and longer for women. These were practical and easy to move in, made from wool or linen, and often belted at the waist. Slaves typically wore simple, undyed tunics, while wealthier Romans had tunics with colored stripes, clavi, that indicated their status. Even high-ranking senators wore tunics, but theirs had wide purple stripes. And let's not forget the Roman military. Soldiers had their own distinct fashion, built for battle. The larica segmentata, or segmented armor, was the classic Roman look, paired with a sagum, a thick woolen cloak for cold weather. Their footwear, the caligae, was a type of hobnailed sandal designed for marching long distances. Think of them as the military boots of the ancient world. Roman fashion may seem ancient, but its influence is still alive today. The draped silhouettes of togas and pallas can be seen in haute couture fashion, and tunic-style dresses remain a staple in wardrobes worldwide. Even the idea of clothing as a status symbol, that started with the Romans, and let's be real, if you've ever worn a graduation gown, you've basically worn a modern toga. So next time you throw one on, just remember, you're channeling the fashion of the Roman elite. And that wraps up our journey into Roman fashion. What do you think? Would you have rocked a toga or stola back in the day? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode in our Fashion Eras series, where we explore the styles of another fascinating period in history. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Threads of Time.